Gianfranco Oddone is spending his golden years trying to save an old rusty hulk from the scrapyard.
The style of the ship, I think it's a fine piece of naval architecture.
In fact, the 240-foot steel-hulled wreck called the Williamsburg once looked like this, an American treasure.
The USS Williamsburg, President Truman's new flagship, has been refurbished as a seagoing White House.
The Williamsburg made history as Harry S. Truman's presidential yacht, easing him away from the stresses of Washington during his 7 tumultuous years in office.
The rebuilding of Europe, the rebuilding of Japan, all took place. His decisions were made aboard the presidential yacht Williamsburg.
But it wasn't all business. Truman relished the camaraderie on board, the long poker games, bourbon, and straight talk. In the summer of '46, with World War II behind him, Truman took his first vacation as president, a 2-week cruise on the Williamsburg. Initially along the eastern seaboard, but heavy storms made him change course and head south to Bermuda. Every detail was front-page news.
This is probably the presidential living room.
But the vessel that hosted Winston Churchill became a ghost ship. Plants now grow from its floorboards. The presidential fireplace disappeared. The galley, barely recognizable. Truman's favorite sun deck, twisted debris.
Mr. Eisenhower had lunch.
After Truman, the Williamsburg fell on hard times. Eisenhower didn't want it. It was mothballed, changed names, even became a floating restaurant in New Jersey. Shipped to Italy in 1994 for repairs, the shipyard went bankrupt. It's been here ever since. Grace and Julio de Salza, who worked on that project, still live near the Williamsburg, but say they're too saddened to even step foot on board.
I would have never thought that 20 years later it would still be here. It's disappointing. We'd love to see it one day be able to leave the bay completely restored.
Oddone, a former ship repairman, believes that the Williamsburg, with so much American history in it, must go home.
The engine casing.
And he's trying to get the message out.
You have a certain number of millionaires, a certain number of billionaires. If they would donate 25 euros each, you raise a lot of money.
The current Italian owners want to refit it as a vintage charter yacht for about $70 million, but can't find any American buyers.
We want the ship to be back in the United States because we think that that's the place where it belongs. But, you know, we have to convince the United States to buy it back.
And they can't hold out much longer. In just a few years, they say, the grandest of America's surviving presidential yachts will sink from decay. Jim Maceda, NBC News, La Spezia, Italy.